Inside this video topic, we'll discuss the concept that how to create our own user registration page inside WordPress. Let's go to browser. So first thing first, this is our admin panel of a WordPress setup. So first I will go click on logout. So if I go into this screen, that is our login screen, so we can see that here we don't have any link of user registration page. So first we have to learn that if we want to enable the registration process inside WordPress, how to enable. So it's a very simple process. This is by default integrated inside WordPress. So first thing first, let's go and log in inside our admin panel. After passing username and password, click on login. Then I will go inside settings, inside this general, and here we can see that here we have an option that is membership. Anyone can register. So simply let's check this checkbox and after that click on save changes. Successfully setting saved. If I go click on logout, and now we can see that inside this login screen, now here we have an extra link that is called register. Let's click on it. And now we can see that whenever we click that link, now we have a separate page, and this page is containing two input fields called username and email. So this is the process, like by filling these informations, any user can register into a WordPress website. And one more thing, if user provides the informations like username and email, and if suppose we have configured SMTP details to this WordPress website, so automatically this setup will send an confirmation email to this email address. And once user will go and click, so after that they can reset first the password value. After login into their account, they can fill the additional informations, for example, first name, last name, website URL, and even they can change password. So let's go into our admin screen. So click on login. Then I will pass admin login details. Let's go users. Click on add new user to open into a new tab. So we can see that while creating any user into this WordPress website, we want the informations, for example, username, email, first name, last name, website URL, and password value. And by default, WordPress assigns a user role called subscriber. So these are the default values what basically we have to take while creating any registration page inside WordPress. So what is the task of this course? So simply inside this video course, we want to create a custom user registration page. Inside that registration page, we have to create these input fields so that if anyone can fill that form, so automatically a subscriber user will be registered into this WordPress website. So this course will be very interesting to learn, and also guys, please do implementation of all this code in your practice so that all the concept of what we learn inside this complete video, you must try to get the things that how to create a custom registration page. And here friends, I will do one more request. If you think that this video will be helpful to complete the concept of custom user registration page inside WordPress, so please give us a thumbs up to like this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and share this video as much as you can in your circle so that everyone get a chance to create this custom user registration page inside WordPress. Now let's get it started. So what is the plan? So first thing first, we'll create a custom plugin inside this WordPress setup, and by the help of that plugin, we'll do our custom user registration process. Let's go to code editor. So this is a WordPress setup. Then I will go inside this WP content folder. Then I will go inside this plugins folder. Let's create a folder and I will call it as WP hyphen custom user register. Let's copy this folder name, hit enter, folder created. Then I will go inside this plugin folder. Let's create our plugin main file. So this will be the file name .php. Now let's quickly add some PHP comment lines. So multi-line comment of PHP. Then here we'll have called plugin name. So let's call it as WP custom user register page. And here let's put a description. So this plugin will give a short code, and that short code will create a front end, or let's say create a custom user register page to WordPress or to front end of this WordPress website. Now next, let's say plugin version. So it will be calls only the version keyword. So 1.0 author. Then we have some more parameters like plugin URI, author URI. So for the time being, I will pass only author URI. And here I will pass my blog URL. So after passing all these informations, if we save these changes, let's go to browser. I'll go then inside this plugins. And inside this plugins list, now we can see that here we have a plugin called WP Custom User Register page. Now let's click on activate so that what the functionality we add by the help of this plugin will automatically gets added to this WordPress website. So this is plugin name, plugin description. Here we have the version number, author, and if I inspect to this link, now we can see that author URI. So let's click on activate. Plugin successfully activated. Now next what we have to do. So here inside this plugin, we have to create a sort code so that whenever we use sort code inside WordPress, automatically custom page means custom page will be created and that page will contain some form input fields and by the help of those input fields, simply a user can register into our WordPress website. So now from here, let's start the developer process of this plugin. So first thing first, I will check that if this plugin what we are creating must be installed into a valid WordPress setup. So here, let's if not defined. So first I will go and use defined here and I will use the concept of a constant of WordPress that is absolute path. If it is not available, let's add exclamation sign. If it is not available, simply exit. Otherwise, let's say that this plugin is going to be installed into a valid WordPress setup. What next? Simply we have to create a sort code. So here, let's say create a sort code. And I assume that you know that what a sort code inside WordPress, how it can be created, and after creating, how it can be used inside any WordPress post or inside any of the WordPress page. So I'll use a WordPress function called add sort code, and here, let's say create custom register page. Now this is our sort code and how it can be used. Simply let's copy this tag, sort code tag, and inside our WordPress page, simply we have to wrap inside square bracket. And for the time being, we are not creating any parameterized sort code, so we don't have to pass any of the parameters inside this square bracket. Now here, once we use this sort code, so automatically it will be triggered what the function we assign. So those functions will be assigned by using a callback function. So here, let's say WordPress custom user register. This is our plugin prefix underscore, let's say display registration page. And here, let's copy this callback function and here it will be defined. So display form input fields and here let's say function name and inside this function we have to write some piece of code and by the help of that code actually we have to create a layout and inside that layout we want the form input fields like first name, last name, username, email, like website URL and the password value. And also inside password we want two different fields like password and confirm password. So here first, I will close PHP tag, open PHP tag, and inside this, let's create a form tag. And inside this form tag, I will define a paragraph tag, then I will define a label. So first I want like the first name, it's input type text box, name equals to let's say first name, and ID equals to let's say first name. If we want some placeholders, also we can add here. But for the time being, it is okay. Let's create another p tag. So label, let's say last name. Here, let's say input type text, name attribute equals to last name, ID equals to last name. Then we want like email and username. So either we can create separate fields or let's say that I will create only a single field called username or email. And by the help of that email, automatically user can be logged in by using that username. So here I'll create a single field either for email or for username. So let's create email, which is common for username and email. So email here, let's input type text, or instead I will create input type email. Let's say name equals to email and ID equals to email. Now next we want like our website URL. So label if any user will have some website. So website URL, let's input type text, and here let's say name equals to user underscore URL and ID equals to user URL. And two more fields we want, that is called password and confirm password. So label it will be password, input type password. So here let's say password and ID equals to password. Now next one more field. So what I will do, let's copy this and paste it here, and I will say this time this will be called confirm password. Input type password is okay. It will be called confirm password. Let's copy and put it here. So we can see that here we have a simple form without any CSS. So obviously this form will come with a distorted design, but design is not the issue. We have see the concept here. So form tag is okay. Then inside this form here we have p tag like first name, last name, email, website URL, password, and confirm password. And lastly, we want a submit button. So let's say button and let's say submit. And here either we can pass any ID or name, or by default it is of submit button. If we want to make a simple type button, simply we have to add an attribute called type equals to button. But if we don't pass this type attribute, so automatically any button inside form tag, remember a simple button inside form tag automatically will be a submit button. Now next here, let's pass some action attributes. So we want that this form will be submitted using post request type. And also here, we want to submit this form like what the registration page will have. So if we try to submit this form automatically into the same URL, this form will be submitted. So what to do here? Ego, I'll use the global server variable. So server, and here inside it, let's say request URI. Next, after this, let's save all these changes, and one more thing we have to do, as we know that inside this callback function of this sort code, we are displaying a custom form. So before this form, what to do? Let's go first and remove this callback function. Let's pass our plugin prefix, so WordPress like WP custom user register. This is our plugin prefix underscore handle underscore sort code. Let's copy this second callback function, and here function name, and inside this function let's use ob start, and here return ob and clean. And inside this, like ob start, like in between ob start and return ob and clean, what to do? I will go and call this function, and this function is simply printing or displaying custom user registration form. So here let's add one more comment here, and that is handle sort code. Then I will go and copy this sort code. Let's copy, go into our WordPress website, click on pages. Then I will go and click on this add new page to create a new page of WordPress. And here, let's close this model, and I will call it as register here. And as we know that we have to use a sort code, so forward slash sort code, we can see a block here. Let's hit enter, and let's put a square bracket, and this is our sort code. Click on publish, and now we can see that page has been published. Let's click and open into a new tab. And here we can see that we are getting one. It means successfully our sort code is now executing. But instead of content, instead of form, we are getting a single one value. And why it is happening? Because here, instead of ob and clean, we have to go and use ob get clean. Save these changes. Then I'll go here, reload this page, and now we can see that here inside registration page, now we have all those input fields like first name, last name, email, website URL, password, and confirm password. So what next? I'll go and do some adjustments inside this user registration form. Let's add colon here. So first name, last name, email, website URL, password, and confirm password. And one more thing, we can also put asterisk here so that user will know that this field is required. So here what I will do, I'll go and add into span tag. Let's use span tag here and add here. Let's add a class and let's call it as WordPress custom user register underscore error sign or simply required. Let's copy this class or hold the span tag. Then I'll go last name is also required. I'll put it here. Email is also required. Website URL is optional. Password is required and confirm password is also required. Now we have to go and copy this class attribute. Let's go and use a style tag here. So style here, this is our class and let's say color equals to red. Save these changes. Then I'll go here. Let's reload. And now you can see that first name, colon, it is required, it is required, it is required, it is optional, required, and required. And one more thing, we can also put the HTML like basic validation by adding one more attribute called required. Let's copy, put it here for all those required fields. It is optional here and here. Save these changes. If I go and reload, and without passing any data, let's click on submit button and now you can see that this field is required. So what next? So here we have a design, here we have a form. Now next we have to go and first of all let's put some validation. It means server side validation. If suppose this form by mistake submitted, so also we have to submit, like also we have to handle this form submission from our server side. So what to do? Let's go and first I will go and close this callback function. And before this registration page, actually after error, after validation errors, also we have to display our error messages. So here, let's say WordPress custom user register underscore validate form submit. Let's add some comment here, handle form submission validation. And here, display user register form. And this function is not defined. So let's copy, go here, validate form submit, so function and the function name. So what next? As we know that our form will be submitted into the same URL using post request type. So here inside this form, what to do? We have to get all those parameters and one more thing, let's go inside the submit button. I will add a name attribute and I will call it as btn user register page. Let's copy this name attribute. Then I will go here and here let's if each set. Next, after this, I will use global post variable post here. Let's copy the name attribute value of this button and pasting it here. So simply, we are checking that if this will be available, it means form will be submitted. So inside that case, first we have to handle our form validation error messages. So here, I'll create an error object of WordPress error class. So error object equals to new and WP error class, not embed, it will be error class. Next after this, let's say first name, like to read all the values of form input fields. So first name, and we get from this post variable and the name attribute value of that field called first name. So in the same way, let's copy, put here. So this one will be for last name. Here it will be last name, and this value what we are using inside this post variable, this will be the name attribute of this last name. For example, for this email, this is the name attribute, so simply I will copy and put it here. So this was for email. Then we have for our user URL, it means website URL. So website URL and the post variable we have called user underscore URL. Then here we have for the password, so password here. And finally, we have called confirm password. Let's copy and put it here. And one more thing we can do here, that before assigning these values to these variables, also we have the option to sanitize. What I mean, if I want to sanitize before like assigning this value to this variable, simply I go and use a WordPress function called sanitize text fill, and inside this function simply pass this value. Now let's go and cut sanitize text fill email. I'll go cut, let's say sanitize text fill. Now here we have the website URL. So sanitize URL, like sanitize URL will be the another function. Pasting it here, password. So sanitize text fill, and here let's say sanitize text fill. Now successfully here we have all those variable with all these values. So what next? First I will check that if first name is set like this variable. If it is set, let's put exclamation sign if it is not set, and the value of this, we have an empty value inside this called first name. It means that this field is required. Now here comes the concept of error object. So error object, then I will call add method, and inside here our error key. So let's say first name underscore error, and I will must say that first name is required. Save these changes. This is to check first name. Now let's copy this one, pasting it here. So this was for last name. So here if last name is not set and the value of last name is empty, so inside that case here call last name underscore error, and I will say last name is required. Now next we have to go and work for the email value. So check email. This is the variable called email. I think we have some spelling mistakes. So email here, email. So I will say like email error, and here let's email address is required. Now next, let's go and copy for password and confirm password. So this will be for password, and the variable we have called password. Let's copy, put here password underscore error, and I will say password is required, and this is for confirm password. So simply it will be called confirm password, and here it will be called confirm password. So confirm password is required, and here let's go and copy this check keyword as well. So check password and check confirm password. Now here we can see that all validation process now completed. So once let's say that if we submitted for example our form without any value to server, so what will happen, all these error messages will go and stored inside this error object. Now what next, simply we have to go and read all the error messages, and after getting those messages simply we have to print in our form. Next after this, let's say display validation error messages. So here I'll use one more method by using this error object. Let's call something called get error messages. So if it is not empty, it means if we have some error messages. So what to do? I'll go first inside this if block. Let's use for each function, and here as single error message. So single error message. Let's go inside this for each block, and here let's echo. Let's define a div first, or it's better, let's close this first div, put a semicolon, then I'll go create one more div. So here we have our opening div, closing div. Let's go and add style attribute, and I will say color equals to red. Now in between our closing and like opening and closing div, let's echo. I will define a p tag. Let's say p tag, closing p tag, and here concatenate with this single error message. Now successfully, if we have any error messages, simply we are printing here. But in case, let's say if we have passed all those data, what basically we need to create any user, what to do, let's go define our another block called else block. So here, register user to WP site, and here, let's say add user to WP site. And inside this function, I will pass first name, last name, email value, and we have to pass our website URL like password, only password because confirm password is only for here like our validation error messages. And also additionally we can put like here that we have to check our password is matching. So password match case. So we can do if like not empty password. If it is not empty and also not empty our confirm password, and also the value of this password is not equals to confirm password. So in that case, also we have an error, and that will be, let's say, error object dot add method, and here password mismatch error will be the key, and let's say that password didn't match. Now let's go inside this else block. So everything is okay. Then I will copy this function. Let's go add user to WP site. So function name, and inside this function, we have to accept all these parameters. Let's pass it here. Now inside this function, what to do? I'll use one more WordPress function, and that will be called WP insert user. Inside that function, we have to pass an array, and inside that array, we have to pass some key value pairs like some key and their values. So what are those keys? Like user data, it's an array, and inside here, user email, like for the email value, user underscore login will be the for username, user underscore pass will be for password. How do I know? Simply if I go into our database table, let's go inside users table, click on structure. So we can see that user login is nothing. It's the username, user pass, the password value, user nickname. It is something like the nickname of user email is the email address of that user underscore URL will be the website URL. So what to do? And first name, last name is not available here. So those keys automatically, once we use the function called WP insert user, that function automatically save those keys inside our user meta table. So let's go inside editor, and here user pass is okay. Then here we have user URL. Let's say first name and last name. So we can see that in all these parameters, only we have these two fields. What basically we have to save inside our user meta table, and all these fields automatically get saved inside our WP users table. So here, what to do for user email, it means username, we have to save like the same email value for email and login, like our username and our email value. Then we have to save our password inside user password. Then here we have website URL. So it will be called website URL, first name and last name, not first name again. It will be last name. So once we pass all these data, what to do? So here we have set of user data. Then here it says save data. And by using a WordPress function called WP insert user, we can see we have to pass user data. So once we save all these data, automatically it will return the user ID. So here it will return user ID. So what next? If we check, let's say if WP underscore error, if we have no error, it means we have to go inside this function block, and inside this function we have to pass user ID. Next, after this, if suppose we don't have any error after creating user, so we'll go inside this if block. So what next? Let's say WP Set, I want that after registration, automatically that user should be logged in inside WordPress website and see our WordPress website landing page. So here, WP underscore set underscore current user, and inside here we have to pass the user ID. Then we have to set our auth cookie. So WP set, it's auth cookie, user ID, and finally we want to be redirected into our landing page. So WP redirect, and here will be our home URL. So successfully, now here we have all the code. Now let's go and define one more block that we are else block. It means if suppose if any error we get after creating user or while creating user, so in that case, let's echo, simply we are just go and echo that message. So let's say failed to create user and simply exit from here. So we can see that now we have completed all the logics, all the concept to create any user from a custom form and save inside our WordPress database. Let's go and see that how it works. Let's go to browser. If I go and reload, so for example, if I click on the submit button, we can see that our HTML5 validation is working. But what to do if suppose I don't want this required attribute inside this form tag? Let's go and remove this required from here, because already we have some validation at our server side. So if we save all these changes, let's go and let's reload. Let's click on submit button. And here we can see that here we have an error message that is failed to create user. And why it is coming? I think that this is coming somewhere from our else block that is here failed to create user. But before going to this function, already we have this if block and somewhere it is not working. So for the time being, let's copy this block of code, print r, put here and put a die here, save these changes. If I go, let's reload here, click on submit button. Okay, here we have some error that is inside this array, we don't have any value. So that's why it is going inside this else block, and by the help of this else block, it is calling this else block. So what to do? Let's go and debug it step by step. So first I will go, let's say print r, and here I will I will print all those post variables, save these changes. Let's go and reload. Click on submit button. And now we can see that inside this array here we have first name. It means that this key is set, but the value is empty. Let's check our conditions. So I will remove. Now if I go and check this if block, so we can see that it is set, but here value is empty. So somewhere I think that these two conditions what we have specified is conflicting. So instead of using like logical or, we have to use like logical and, we have to replace with this logical or. Let's go and put logical or, and now everything is okay. Save changes. Let's go to browser, and without any passing value, click on submit button. And now we can see that first name is required, last name requires, and all those fields where we want values, all those are required. Now let's put some values and see that how basically we create user and what is the default user role WordPress assign to that user. So here, let's say Rakesh, Rakesh at gmail.com, something a dummy value. So HTTPS colon, let's say example.com. Password is from 1 to 8, 1 to 8. Click on submit, and we can see that after successful registration, automatically user is now logged in. And here we can see this is the user what we have created. Click on edit profile. And now we can see that inside this profile, inside this like created user profile, here we have the username, first name, last name, nickname. Here we have the display name, email address, and also the password value. Let's go to our database table, click on WP users browse button, and here we have all the details of that user. If I go into a user meta, click on user meta, Let's go descending order. And if I scroll, so here we can see that here we have the last name, first name key, and even we have the nickname. So successfully now here we have a custom user registration page, and by the help of that page successfully we have created our first user into our WordPress website. So simply I will go and click on logout button. Let's go inside admin login. So here I will pass our admin details, username and password. Then I will go into users, and now we can see that this is the user what we have created, and we can see that by default it has assigned subscriber as a user role. Now let's go and see one more time. So simply let's log out, and here into this website we can see register here automatically. That page now added into our navigation link. Click here, and here we have our page. If I pass or click on submit button without passing any value, so here we have validation error messages. Now let's put some detail. So Deepak at gmail.com something. Let's this time I'm not passing this website URL. Password is from 1 to 8. 1 to 8. Click on submit. And now we can see that successfully that Deepak Sharma, or sorry, Deepak Khanna, the new user now registered into this WordPress website. If I go into our WordPress users table, so successfully now we can see that that user now registered into a users table. So one more case actually I want to discuss inside this code section, and that is if any user registered with any email value, also we have to check that inside our WordPress users table, email should be unique. What I mean to say that every user must have a unique email address. So inside these validations, we don't see any email existence check. So what to do after this password? If I use let's say if block, or before that let's say check email exists. So here, if I'll use a function called email exist, and inside here simply pass the email variable. So if email exists, it will return the error value or the error. So I will go here, let's say error, or simply it will be email exists error. And here inside this message, let's say email already taken. If we save these changes, and one more thing we want, first I will check this case. Let's go and I will click on this logout button, go to WordPress website, click on register here, click on submit. Here we have all those validation. Let's put some validation here. And what I will do, I'll put the same email value. Let's put some password 128, 128. Click on submit. Remember, this time this user have this email and this email already exists into our database table. Click on submit. And now we can see that email already taken. Now that the condition what we have added, now it is working. Now one more thing I will discuss before closing this video, that we can see that design is totally distorted. So what to do? So here to save our time, I will take the help of ChatGPT AI tool to go and design our form section. So here let's go and copy this complete form tag. I'll just copy. Let's open a tab and chatgpt.com. Let's put or go hi. First, I will go and interact. Let's put our all the form tag data. So please do some CSS, or even I will say eye-catching CSS for the design, for the design of this form. And also don't use any third-party library. Hit enter. So after passing our data, it means our form tag and some input prompt, now we have guided our ChatGPT AI tool that what basically we have to do. And we can see that it has given lots of code on the basis of that form code. And also we want, let's add a form tag here. I will add an ID attribute and call it register underscore form. let's add our plugin prefix. So it will be WordPress custom user register. So also I would tell our ChatGPT AI tool that on the basis of this ID value, we want our CSS. So I will go, let's paste one more time. And here I will copy this ID attribute value. And here let's say, please do CSS on the basis of this parent ID of form. And that is, this is the ID value. Hit enter. Now successfully it will analyze, and we can say that by the help of this ID value of this form, now it is going and adjusting all the CSS. So simply what to do, I will go just copy all the code, copy it from here, go into editor, and inside this style tag, let's paste all those code. And one more thing also, we have to do some more changes, and that is we don't want this h2 tag, body tag. Let's remove this body from here and also h2 from here. Save these changes. After doing these CSS, let's go and reload. And now we can see that here we have our attractive CSS on the basis of that AI tool. And here we have the form, and this form is working. If I click on the submit button, now here we can see our error messages. Also, by using the concept of that AI tool, also we can add some CSS for these error messages. But we don't need this right now. Let's pass some more data here. So let's use one more user to register. I don't want to pass this website URL. Password is something, and password is something. Click on submit. User registered, and automatically we can see that now user has logged in. Now successfully, we have a great idea, great concept to create a custom user registration page for any WordPress website. From that page, we can go and create users for a WordPress database. So please give us a thumbs up to this video, to this amazing concept, subscribe to this channel. Now let's meet to our next amazing concept of video. So for this video session guys, thank you for watching and have a great day.